look at you and connect and know what we're really about is one mind and one heart and one spirit. And today being Mother's Day is a day that we honor that feminine, divine feminine in all of us. You don't need to be a mother or a woman to embody the divine feminine. You don't have to be male, female, or non-binary or whatever it is we're all doing these days. All you have to do is be you and know that that divine presence is active and alive and working and being. So Mother's Day, of course, mothers have been honored forever, but the origins of Mother's Day go back to the efforts of this one woman, Julia Ward Howe. And remember, she wrote the words to the Battle Hymn of the Republic, and she came up with it. She was a Unitarian. She'd been raised, I think, Episcopalian, but she became a Unitarian. She lived in Boston. She came up with this idea of an International Mother's Day, and she wrote this amazing proclamation for it that I'd like to share during our discussion period rather than right now. But it was so powerful and so far-seeing because she was really calling on women to come together because she wasn't really out to honor mothers. She was out to celebrate peace. And she had connected with mothers who had all over the world who had lost their sons during wartime, and she wanted to inspire women of the world to stop war altogether, and she thought she could do that. And so today is a good day for all of us to take a stand for peace in this time, peace from COVID-19, peace from fear and anxiety, and peace from economic instability, peace in our own minds and hearts from continued racism and violence, peace in the midst of madness. And so, of course, we have to begin with peace in ourselves and ask it, are we experiencing peace in that very center of our own beingness? So how can then the aspects of the divine feminine support us? And so let's even ask, what is the divine feminine? So of course, a lot have been written over all the years and thousands of pages about that divine feminine. And I don't want to fill our heads with more information because we have a lot of information. I, for one, have lots of information. You should just see me watching Jeopardy. I have more information than I will ever need. And what I want more of is the experience in my heart. And maybe you do too, of the divine feminine in your heart. So I want to ask you this morning, where in your heart, where do you feel a need for healing? Now, we say in Unity there is no need for healing because everything is wholeness right now. So it's really our thoughts or experience about it. Because right now you are completely whole, you are completely divine, you know, that we are spiritual beings having an experience of humanity right now. And for all of us, what's going on right now in our world is something none of us ever expected. Something none of us ever have felt that we were prepared for. And yet when I look back on my life and those of us of a certain age and the times that we grew up in, I'm glad to be a product of the 60s. So I got to touch and feel and to have those great experiences of finding out who I truly am. I'm so grateful for that, for my spiritual path, for my finding unity, for having a wonderful partner who, by the way, we're celebrating 37 years together this next week. And what a blessing that has been and continues to be. Yeah. I mean, who else do you want to be in quarantine with? So yes, we have outward manifestations that are not particularly peaceful, that might not be healed. But I want to ask you again, where in your heart might there be a need for healing? Where might there be hurt, frustration, anger, upset, disease? Where are you not at peace right now, right here today? The truth of you, not thinking about what's going on and what you're going to do later and what you did yesterday, but right now. And so the question I have is, can we today, right now, lay that burden down? Can we lay that burden down on the altar of the divine feminine to be healed here today, right now? And so I want to suggest we do that in 3 different ways this morning. And first, I'm sure each one of us have had an experience a memory of the deep and profound healing of the love of the divine feminine. And maybe it came from your mother, and maybe it did not. For sure, our mothers made lots of mistakes. Some mothers were able to love us and nurture us in a way that we felt is what we needed, and many were not able to do that. But I think if we think about it, all of us can come up with a moment where we felt so completely embraced with love and caring and support and compassion that we just melted into it. Maybe it came from your mother, maybe it didn't. I'm remembering a time where I was at this conference, sort of a spiritual conference, and we were in this ceremony, and just something touched me so deeply that I just began to sob and shake and sob and sob. And this woman next to me, who I did not know, just put her arms around me and held me. And in that moment, she was my angel of peace. She was my mother. And so whoever it was, whether it was your mother or a lover or a friend, a father, for you right now, if you could go back to that moment in your life, a moment when you felt that, to maybe even close your eyes and remember that moment when you felt so supported, so loved, so the object of someone's compassion, that you can let that moment be your experience right now, to drink in that experience of that divine feminine energy that supported you and loved you. And if you can bring whatever place in your heart is in need of healing right now to this feeling, if you could bring that to this mental experience, this feeling experience, and just place it on the altar of love in this experience, and to just allow it to dissolve in the fire of the divine, in the loving arms of spirit. To let it go, to let it go, to let it go. And as you're ready to return your attention to this here and now, to let your eyes open. So some of you might be with your mother right now. Anybody here with their mother? Their biological, all right, thank you. That's great. And many of us have had pictures of our mothers, some of us do not. Mothers came in all shapes and sizes, and some the perfect embodiment of the divine feminine, some not so much. None of them perfect. All of them perfect in who they were, all of them absolutely beautiful. Look at these women. As I said, I have my mom when she was 17 with this amazing hair. And my mom later, as I say later, that's my mom later, lounging around. Her favorite thing was to lounge around. But regardless of whatever the relationship was, what a priceless gift she gave us, because she gave us life. And at some level, our souls were just begging to come into life, begging to come into incarnation on this earth. And at the same time, there was somebody going, let me be the one, let me be the vessel for this soul to come in. And there, and here we are. You know, the greatest gift, I say my mother, the greatest gift she gave me was my birth, but the next greatest gift she gave me was that I was able to be present with her when she left this earth, that I was with her as she let go and died. And I saw her in those last breaths, I saw her being born into something else. So if I didn't have faith then, which I did, but if I hadn't have, it was so multiplied and manifested, because I saw her leave this time and space and go to another one. What a gift for my mother that was, continues. And that was about 12 years ago now. So if you have her photo with you, and if you don't have her photo, you certainly have her in your heart, to thank her for the gift of life she gave you, and all the hardships and upset that you caused her, and that she was able to endure, to be able to be that vessel for the beautiful being you are right now. So the first way of healing was to remember that place and look at that place we needed healing, and to do a little process of placing that need on the altar of love. And The second was to acknowledge our mother. And thirdly, so many of us are biological mothers, some are not. As Jane said, she's not a biological mother except for her dogs. I am not a biological mother except for my dog, Kirby, and all the people I get to connect with and love. But this story that I want to share with you is for that inner mother that we all possess, that which is absolutely unconditionally loved. So the book I want to read to you is Love You Forever. Is anyone familiar with it? Oh, you're going to love this. How exciting. Great. Okay, you can see the picture. This is a very loved child, right? You got to love it. You got to love the child. Anybody watch Saturday Night Live last night, by the way? It's on, it was on from home, but they had a little skit about let your children drink. During these hard times, it was very funny, absolutely inappropriate. It was very funny. So if you get a chance, take a look at that. So this book is called Love You Forever by Robert Munch and illustrated by Sheila McGraw. And just enjoy these words. A mother held her new baby and very slowly rocked him back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And while she held him, she sang, I'll love you forever. I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. The baby grew. He grew and he grew and he grew. He grew until he was 2 years old and he ran all around the house. He pulled all the books off the shelf. He pulled all the food out of the refrigerator and he took his mother's watch and flushed it down the toilet. Sometimes his mother would say, this kid is driving me crazy. But at nighttime, when that 2-year-old was quiet, she opened the door to his room, crawled across the floor, looked up over the side of the bed, and if he was really asleep, she picked him up and rocked him back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And while she rocked him, she sang, I'll love you forever. I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. The little boy grew. He grew and he grew and he grew. He grew until he was 9 years old and he never wanted to come in for dinner. He never wanted to take a bath. And when Grandma visited, he always said bad words. Sometimes his mother wanted to sell him to the zoo. But at nighttime, when he was asleep, the mother quietly opened the door to his room, crawled across the floor, and looked up over the side of the bed. If he was really asleep, she picked up that 9-year-old boy and rocked him back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And while she rocked him, she sang, I'll love you forever. I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. The boy grew. He grew and he grew and he grew. He grew until he was a teenager. He had strange friends and he wore strange clothes and he listened to strange music. Sometimes the mother felt like she was in the zoo. But at nighttime, when that teenager was asleep, the mother opened the door to his room, crawled across the floor, and looked up over the side of the bed. If he was really asleep, she picked up the great big boy and rocked him back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. While she rocked him, she sang, I'll love you forever. I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. The teenager grew, he grew and he grew and he grew. He grew until he was a grown-up man. He left home and got a house across town. But sometimes on dark nights, the mother got into her car and drove across town. If all the lights in her son's house were out, she opened his bedroom window, crawled across the floor, and looked up over the side of his bed. If that great big man was really asleep, she picked him up and rocked him back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And while she rocked him, she sang, "I'll love you forever. I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, my baby you'll be." Well, that mother, she got older. She got older and older and older. And one day she called up her son and said, "You better come see me because I'm very old and sick." When he came to the door, she tried to sing the song. She sang, "I'll love you forever. I'll like you for always." But she couldn't finish because she was too old and sick. The son went to his mother. He picked her up and rocked her back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And he sang this song, "I'll love you forever. I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, my mommy you'll be." When the son came home that night, he stood for a long time at the top of the stairs. Then he went into the room where his very new baby daughter was sleeping. He picked her up in his arms and very slowly rocked her back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And while he rocked her, he sang, "I'll love you forever. I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, my baby you'll be." Steve, we are so blessed. We are so blessed. We are so blessed.